What are some tips or recommendations that you give outside of even just medical treatment when you're seeing a patient and they're struggling and they come in here with Lyme, they're starting? Is there anything that you kind of, hone in on to sort of say, hey, just do this, it'll be okay, or any piece of advice that you'd give to people in general?
Well, definitely depends on the patient
Sure.
and what they're going through. But I think one thing that I tell patients, because I told myself this a lot, like I had this reel of positive things going through my head, but sometimes patients get so discouraged, and I remember this feeling, because you get better and you're like, gosh, this is it. Like, I'm going to run a half marathon and I'm getting back out in life, and this is behind me, and now we can finally have that party that I've been wanting. And then they dip. And those old symptoms that they've had creep back up.
Yeah.
Maybe not in full force, but even just like the tinge of it being there is terrifying. And mentally, that takes you to a really dark place, because you're like, oh, it's back. None of this worked. I am still sick and I'm never going to get well. And you just kind of give all of these, like, use words that I don't like to use, like never and always. And so you get stuck. So, but the good news is that you come out of it again. So what I tell patients is, the road to healing, it's definitely not linear. It's going to be filled with ups and downs. But with time, your threshold will change. So like, say you're going like this, it kind of does this. And I probably said this last time, and you kind of come up. So when you dip down, you have to remember, and my mom always told me this, she was like, you got there once, you'll get there again. And so that's what I tell them to tell themselves. True. I got there once, I'll get there again. Got there once, I'll get there again, and it'll be even better. So that's one thing that I definitely say. And then two, I think when you have symptoms come up, as hard as it is, you cannot dwell on them and think about them, because then that issue grows, truly. I mean, even on like a quantum physics level, but that's a different topic. So you can go, oh, my knee is hurting again. That stinks. That's unfortunate, but it will get better. And now I'm going to go about my day. So not dwelling on whatever issue it is, that's a really big thing. And then, trying to find joy in some, way in your day. Do something that sparks joy, as, what's
Marie
her name?
Kondo.
Yeah, exactly. You said that good. I was going to say Marie Kondo, like a true Texan. Marie Kondo sparks joy. But yeah, do something that sparks joy, or brings you, some type of happiness or whatnot. And those are a few things that I say. And that's really on like just kind of mentally gearing up and toughening up and getting through things. Great
advice. And sparking joy is all that. And everyone should tidy up anyway and get their declutter.
Yes.
Are there any, though, techniques that you advise people to practice at home to tap into what you're talking about a little bit, to stay positive? It's one thing to catch yourself in a negative thought pattern and try, but sometimes people need a little bit more. They need a little bit like a technique, whether that is EFT or some other sort of pieces. But is there something you found yourself, or that you recommend to other patients, techniques they can be practicing at home so that they don't fall into, victimization, all these other things that are very easy and kind of,
totally,
and get out of that?
There are a number of them. Even something as simple as meditating. That's something that I started to do for sure. And that just kind of at least helped calm my brain down and not just get flustered with all of these, thoughts and emotions that I was having. There's actually a device that I really like if you're trying to learn how to meditate, called Muse.
Muse, yeah.
Muse is really cool. So I initially did that and kind of dipped my feet in learning how to meditate. But then I did a lot of breathing techniques, and there's so many. I can probably give you we can link it or something like that.
Well, give me like your 3 even, or 1 or 2.
Well, I don't even know that I could tell you the names of them, but I just practiced for 5 to 10 minutes maybe. Whenever I was struggling, I would breathe in for say 6 seconds, hold it for 3, and then out for at least 8. I always try to breathe out
parasympathetic
longer.
Activation.
Exactly.
Right.
And when you're doing that too, I read one time about somebody kind of picturing, as you're breathing in, light and healing is coming in, and you picture it going to all of your cells, and then you hold it for a second, just kind of let it resonate, and then you breathe out like black dust, like you're getting rid of toxins.
That's good.
So as silly as that sounds, it's actually extremely beneficial. So there's that. And then, doing some other practices like Ho'oponopono, which is, I could probably talk about that for a long time, but just kind of if there was a situation or a person or an issue going on that really bothered me, I still do that literally on my way home from work sometimes, right? If you just see me sitting there going, I forgive you, please forgive me, thank you so much, I love you, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so that practice is actually healing, not even just for you, but for whoever you're, doing it towards. Even if it's somebody you like, but you got frustrated. The Ho'oponopono is a practice that I use actually even now, but started using whenever I was sick. And I'm trying to think of other things that I did. I mean, this isn't like a practice that I did at home. All of those are free and easy, and you can do them at home. The emotional freedom technique, I went through a season where I did that a lot, tapping, which was, the tapping, which helped a lot. So those are them. And then something that I did that wasn't at home, just because I lived in Texas and the clinic was here, and I, couldn't fly up all the time to do biofeedback, but biofeedback kept popping up on my, evaluation, like that you would really benefit from that. So basically just changing the way I interpret certain stressful things to where they don't stress me out as much. But I actually did something called LENS.
Okay.
The low energy neurofeedback system. So it's not as like interactive as the biofeedback, but it definitely helped kind of bring, if you looked at my EEG before and after, my brain waves were much better. But it helped kind of get my brain functioning back where it needed to. And it really helped with emotional issues and sleep, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
So those are little tidbits of things that I did on my own that really helped.